Angular to React, why the business decided to go for React? What were the pros and cons, on basis of what they actually made that decision?
Okay, so React is very fast rendering since it has a virtual DOM concept in it, and since it has JX, the code is very clear and clean, and so mostly because of the performance, most of the company is moving to React. For example, the PayPal and other companies. Mainly in my project, it is in AngularJS. It is the first version of Angular, so it was very slow in rendering the page. So when we compare with other React versions and other Angular versions and React gives us more performance because of that virtual DOM and JSX. So that's why they have prepared for that.
So this Angular, now the project, did you work on that project or somebody else worked on that AngularJS project?
Same, I myself worked on that. Yes.
So because I worked on AngularJS briefly for like few months way back in 2016, I guess, and I think in Angular we have a concept of two-way data binding, whereas
yes.
in React we have one-way data binding.
React is one-way data. Yes, correct.
Can you tell me what's the difference between two and what is the most performance-wise, which is the best binding way?
Okay, the performance-wise, I think one-way binding is the best way. Two-way in the sense if user made any changes in the UI which was bind to the backend data, the backend model which we are pointing to is also updated. So that we call as a two-way binding. In case of React, it is only one-way binding. So we will push the data to the UI to show up in the UI screen. But any update if the user about to do on that UI, it triggers the life cycle or it get updated through the state. So that's how the React concept. So it's not a two-way, it's not automatically updated. It take extra mile to do that.
Okay. Ravina, can you explain the concept of hoisting to me in JavaScript?
Okay. So hoisting is nothing but we had the variable declaration with var. So if we use that var with the variable name, what happens? The scope is not related to that function. Also, it gets hoisted in the sense it moved to the top of that JavaScript, and that variable would be available across that script. So that we call as an hoisting. If we use the instead of var, if we use let or constant, then the scope of that variable would be inside that particular function. So it will not impact any other variables which have hoisting problems. Yeah.
So is there any difference between variable hoisting and function hoisting?
Yes. Yeah, it's similar only, but it's again the function in terms of function, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Now just give me 1 second. I'm just going to write some code in the chat, and I want you to tell me whether that code is going to work or not. Okay.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Basically, what I want to do is I want to call a function, but I want to call it even before I defined it. So you think this is going to work? It's in the chat.
Yeah. Yes, this would work because you have. This would work.
You think this is going to work? Okay.
Yeah, this variable add variable would be now hosted to the top.
And what about this method? Because in the first method I declared a function using function expression, but now I am declaring it using function statement. Do you think this will also work?
No, this will not work. We'll search for that function.
Okay. What is the difference between null and undefined?
Okay, undefined is that variable itself not created, or it doesn't have the memory in the JavaScript. But null is, it has some value, but null is considered as a value actually. It has, for example, I have an object with person, and it has a property like name. So if name is there already there, but value of the name is not available, then we call that as a null check. We need to do a null check. But if name property itself is missing in that object, so in that case that is undefined. For example, if we do some API call, and we will get a lot of JSON object structure. So it has a lot of property in it, key value pair in it. Suppose there may be a possible, like that key itself would be missing, or the key is there but the value is missing. So key itself is missing, we call that as an undefined. Key is not available at all. But key is available but the value is not assigned. Something like that is called as null check.
So is it possible that we assign undefined value to any variable? For example, in the chat I'm writing. Do you think it's going to work?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and do you think it is a good practice to do that?
Yes, because in React we used to do this whenever we think this variable is not suitable for that tenant, that particular flow or that particular tenant, we would be assigning that as undefined or in the or taking. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put here. Can you just tell me what is going to be the output of, or what is going to be the value of A in this case?
Okay. A, it has a integer number 3. Yeah.
So do you think A triple equal to 3 is going to be true?
No, the data type will not match. So triple equal to will check for data type and also the instance, the value instance value, but double equal to only check for the value. So if we do double equal to, it will match because A is also 3 and this is also 3. But since the data type is different.
What is the data type? If I do type of A, what is going to be?
I think it would be a string because they are by default var is a string.
Okay.
And number is a.
Okay. All right. Another line of code I'm going to give you. Just want to know what is going to get logged in the console.
Okay. So we'll go in the source. Okay. So 3 is greater than 2 and collecting my one is less than 12. I think that it will return true. Yes, true.
Why is that? Can you explain?
So the reason behind it will check whether 3 is greater than 2 and it is true. It will consider that as a boolean true, and true is greater than 1. So again it is true. So that's how I recollect.
So how is true is greater than 1? Okay, it was a guess. That's okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Actually, I have went through similar kind of scenario, but now I couldn't recollect it.
Okay.
Yes, but
That's okay. Can you tell me about event bubbling and capturing in JavaScript?
Okay, event bubbling and what was the second one?
Event capturing.
Okay. I don't remember the exact scenario, but event bubbling is whenever the event trigger from the parent, it get propagate to the child component, that we call that as use to, so these are all the methods which we can use to loop through the object. So it will automatically, if we have an array of objects, it will automatically loop and get us the single values, that argument. So we can do whatever business logic inside that map, and it will return that change the map. So if we want to find something, we can check for the equal to, and then we can return. So that's how we can loop through the objects. So that is one. In ES6, it is the way, yeah.
So for example, this is the object. I have declared that object using a object literal, first name, last name, location. So if I have to log each of these properties and value, do you think what do you think we can use here? Which method?
Okay. So I mean to say map is for array of objects. So this is a single object. So we can go for each for let for in, for off.
You think for each can work here, or for each only works on arrays?
For each is again array, yes. For in would, yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you. Sorry. Yeah. You're saying.
Yeah.
Something?
Go ahead. No. You go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to write a piece of code in the chat, and I just want you to tell me what is going to be the output. So let me quickly walk you through this piece of code. So I'm declaring an array, okay, empty array, and I'm using a traditional for loop that runs 5 times, and each time it pushes a function to that array, and that function basically logs the value of I. Okay. So at the end of for loop, this array is going to have 5 elements, and all the 5 elements are going to be 5 functions that log value of I. Now I am executing each function from that array one by one. Could you please tell me what is going to be the output?
Okay. Obviously it will print 1, 2, 3, 4 because the array has the function in it. So we are doing the function call with a parenthesis. So if we call array of 0, it will have that function console.log of I. Okay, so again here I. Okay, that. Okay, it will have that 0. Yes, because I has the variable 0. Yeah, I think 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because in the loop itself it gets assigned to the I, but we haven't called that while we are pushing. So then it's 50K for me. Okay, that's high, but we are not passing anything to that function, but it should pick that I.
Okay.
But the scope is not, actually the call is not inside the for loop. I think I scope is not available when we call this array of 0.
So what do you think, is it going to log?
Undefined.
Okay. Can you tell me about bind and apply, or bind and call, these methods that we have in JavaScript?
Yes, so call is again while calling the function, instead of using this braces, we can use that dot call. So both are same. Instead of calling a function with parenthesis, dot call will call that actual function. And bind is if we have a function inside an object. So in that case, we will use this bind to call that function. So that object property dot bind. So it will make a call to that function property inside that object. And apply, I did use that apply in the math operation. Math operation. Math dot apply. We have minimum, maximum, random members. So in that case, I have used that apply. I don't remember any other scenario with apply. I have used that in math dot apply with the value max,
Okay.
max, yeah. Max while finding the maximum. call is actually making the function call, but apply has the parameters and then it can initialize, I think, initialize the variable or can have another function. I think so, because math.apply, can have higher order function, I think.
Okay. About React for some time. Can you tell me what is the difference between functional components and class components?
Okay, in class component we do have the lifecycle, React lifecycle, like a component it mount, component will mount, and component unmount. And we have class, in class concept we have this object. So all these things so not available in function, but the replacement for those we have in shape of hooks. So we have the hooks which is equivalent to these lifecycle, React lifecycle. So the better way nowadays, all the I do see the projects are converting their class to functions, or they are starting instead of class component, they prefer for the function component because of their hook concept and usability. The cleaner code without that this object confusion. And yeah, I think function component is better than class component, the performance wise.
So you are now converting AngularJS project into React. What is the design decision that you have made? You're using functional components or class components?
It's full of functional components, not even a single class. Like, yeah, and maybe somewhere any scenario, I don't remember the scenario, but most of the classes, most of the scripts, it's in TypeScript actually. So everything is in functional, not class. Since we started newly for this, so it's not been a year, I think. So it is functional fully.
So even the parent component is a functional component?
The initial the first component might be the class component, but later on everything is functional.
Okay. Any lifecycle method that you know that is specifically designed to catch errors in React?
Catch error boundaries. Lifecycle method to catch error. No, I don't.
Okay. Can you tell me about virtual DOM? How the significance of virtual DOM in React?
Okay, so in legacy or traditional DOM, if any changes user perform in the UI, it update the entire DOM structure, the HTML file, right? So, but in case of virtual DOM, it will not load or update the entire DOM. It's just update wherever the user have done changes. So that is the plus point of the React. So it reduces the DOM load time. So it brings up the page very quick, really quick. So only that particular part alone will get updated using this virtual DOM concept.
Okay. Can you tell me something about pure component in React?
Yes, pure component is if we give the same set of arguments, it will return the same response each and every time. So that we call as pure component. It will not have any side effects. For example, if I pass 1, 2 as for addition function, it will always return me 3. So that is called as a pure function. But in case of API call, or if it is a random number function, then it will not give me the same response return value. That we call, that is not a pure function.
So tell me one thing. Now let's say we have a component, okay, and that component is displaying a value from the state, okay. Let's say the current state value is let's say 10, okay. Now on click of a button, I am using set state, but I am setting state and I'm setting the value again to 10. think the component will render or not?
No, it will not. Will not. If there is any change alone, it will render. Re-render. Re-render will not happen.
So you mean when we use set state, it will not trigger the re-rendering of component?
Okay, set state, each and every set state action will not actually re-render it, but I haven't tried this scenario where I'm just thinking of that, but set state will re-render the DOM. So we will be using the use effect thing where we can mention the particular, if particular value has changed, then do this operation. So we have been using that use effect, use state, yeah. So everything will re-render the DOM.
Okay. Can you tell me about, now you must have used the map a lot, map method a lot in your React components, and whenever we use map, it is mandatory that we provide a key.
Yes.
Otherwise we get console warning. So why is it so important to provide a key?
For the unique value to identify the data uniquely. That's what I don't remember any specific scenario for that.
Okay, because sometimes we are dealing with array of objects that may not have any unique value like ID or something. Have you ever came across such a case where you don't have any unique ID? So what value do you use in that case in the key?
Index. So that scenario we have used that index.
Okay. Okay. All right. How do you use styling in your React components? Is your React component, every React component has its own CSS file, or there is one common CSS file? How do you handle that?
Yeah, we are using that Salesforce styles, which is a third-party library for the styling thing, and the client-specific styling stuff. We have unique. We have one CSS for each module, so where we can reuse it. So we have CSS file for each module.
Okay, all right. One last question. Now we write our HTML code in JSX, right? In React component. Do you think the modern browsers, they understand JSX?
No, it will not. It will convert to the normal HTML and JavaScript stuff, then only browse. So that transpiler that we call it transpiler, where Babel comes into picture, that ESX transformation and JSX. So in turn, the React will create React.create element. So each and every element we are putting it in that JSX will convert that into React component, like React.create element with the tag. Instead of that tag, it will have the syntax adding tag.
Okay.